shout out to Hazardo Gaming Dragon of Dojima. This is somebody whose Twitter account cannot be understated as to how important the news and stuff that they bring is to me and to many other gamers. However, Hazardo Gaming is a console exclusivist to an extent. And I'm not saying that being a console exclusivist makes you bad. It's just your own position on how you think the gaming industry should run. So Hazardo Gaming yesterday was talking to Paris about something in the comment section. They were, back and forth on Twitter, and he was asking Paris a question. And D-Batch was also talking about, if the next Xbox console doesn't sell because of a lack of exclusives, then Xbox fans need not complain, and all that. So Hazardo was here this morning, and he's clipping this particular comment from Phil Spencer saying, hey, man, we don't want any walls. We just want to take our games where gamers will play them. We enjoy the work we're doing with Nintendo. It's not only PlayStation. We enjoy the work we're doing with Valve, of which, after all is said and done, Valve carried Xbox when no one was buying Xbox and people were jumping ship to PlayStation. They were like, oh, PlayStation. It was Valve that was there to basically nurse Xbox's wounds and bring them back to full health. And I have the data to prove it. Okay? If you want, we'll bring it out. You know me, I like the numbers. So Hazarder says, Phil really went from just 4 games to more very quickly. Try to explain, folks, this is the route they're taking and it would affect Xbox hardware. Good luck to Xbox for next gen because it's going to be uphill battle for them. No, it's not. Let me tell you something. Let's put into perspective machine games. Okay, come on, let's talk on a studio level because I think many of you're looking at it and the perspective that you have is from this one perspective of, you know what? Let's not talk about machine games. I'm sorry. Let's go to 343. Before the acquisition, because Machine Games is an acquired studio, and if we go with that particular perspective, we'll miss out some context. So let's go with 343 Halo. Halo Master Chief Collection, Halo Infinite, and all of that stuff, right? Let's look there and let's see what's happening in this particular regard. So I'm gonna take you back in time when Xbox was basically hurting and they had been basically bludgeoned by PlayStation in the console sales. What went down? What was happening, right? At the time, they had entered the console generation, I think it was like 2013, and nothing was going on. Xbox was 3 years into the generation. They weren't necessarily seeing much in terms of their console sales. They weren't making those kinds of expensive exclusives, and they were getting bodied. PlayStation was going heavy tactics on them, locking down exclusives from every Tom, Dick, and Harry, and then at the same time, they were making expensive Last of Us shiny-looking games. So PlayStation looked like the place you needed to play your games. What was Xbox doing? Xbox was assessing the market, and I don't think Microsoft was willing to actually invest in them at the time. But somewhere around 2016, this man here running the ship looked and said, our studios will basically be useless if they can't sell games. We'd have to close. Why don't we go leverage a platform that we have some comfort level in? And bro went to PC. Quantum Break was the first. You guys remember the timeline that I made for you with the crap gamer complaining? Oh, Phil, you should have told us that Quantum Break was going to be going to, PC day one, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to cancel my pre-order. And Phil replied to him and said, you're going to cancel a pre-order for a game that you want to play because somebody else has to play the game? Right? I have a timeline for you guys here. I told you I'll bring the receipts. Okay, let's just go. So here's the tweet. I put it in the timeline. Actually, it's a whole picture on my Canva, right? I have the screenshot for it here. If we zoom in, we might be able to see it. See the Crab Gamer 100? Telling this to Phil, saying, Phil, you didn't do this, you didn't do that. And Phil respond, you canceled a pre-order for a game you want because someone else gets to play the same game on Windows? And so we already had PlayStation fans acting like Xbox fans acting like, they could sustain the ecosystem. They couldn't. Your console was getting bodied by PlayStation. So what did Phil do? He looked and said, we got to save this company. So he went to PC. We don't have the data for top sellers from 2016, 2017, and 2018. So we don't really know what those games did. For some reason, that thing is glitched out here. But when we come to 2019, I see Age of Empires here all the way down on the 100 list in the bronze category, meaning an Xbox game is topping the charts on Steam in 2019. So let me get this straight. let me get this straight, right? In 2019, how many games were launched on Steam? There were 8,096 games. Of the 8,096 games launched on Steam in 2019, Xbox has a game that is in the top 100 best-selling games that year. Yeah, I'll take that deal if I have a company to save. If I have a ship to write, I'll take that deal over some fanboy worried about exclusivity. And guess who showed up on the list again? Gears 5. Is that right? So in the 8,000 games that launched on Steam, 2 Xbox games are now in the top 100 best-selling games. Ain't that something? Isn't that something, ladies and gentlemen? But let's keep going up because, I think there might be some more surprises as well when you kind of think about it. Because this is not a simple market. Now you come into the gold category, you see Halo, the Master Chief Collection, also ranking much higher on the list. So apparently, Xbox's strategy on PC is working. Something is going on. People are seeing these games. People are buying these games. And Xbox is staying profitable. Their studios are staying open. This is why when people are complaining about the studios, I'm like, yeah, you have the luxury of complaining that the studio actually even still exists. That PlayStation did not force this company out of business like their goal was. The goal of PlayStation was to force Xbox out of business. You guys think it's only about the box. You guys are not considering that there were studios developing games for the box. And if the box was not selling and the studios were not selling games, both would have to pack up and go away. But the studios were selling games. That's how Phil was able to do it. So Hazard Gaming, Dragon of Dojima. All due respect. All due respect. When you say the amount of trust people put in these corporations truly baffles me, couldn't be me. I guess goalposts always shift when your preferred platform goes in a certain direction. This applies to all. No one is saying that they did not change their stance. I agree. They changed their stance. But they changed their stance because if they did not, they would have gone under. Here is the best of 2020. The 2020 list comes out. Sea of Thieves is now on this list. I think they're getting like a revive or something. Halo Master Chief Collection is also there. How many games came out in the year 2020? In fact, there are 1,510 or so, 14 more games, 1,514 more games that come out on PC in 2020. And in that same year, Xbox games even rank higher on average than they did the previous year. The strategy is working. The strategy is working, ladies and gentlemen. And so if anybody does not think that Phil Spencer was a pivotal piece of Xbox, you are clearly uninformed, or maybe you're clearly just pretty much ignoring the reality that's right here. Then we look at the silver category and we see Flight Simulator, which has always been on PC, but it makes its way here. It's gotten improvements, and it's one of the top games, sharing a category with War Thunder, a live service game that is monetized heavily. Sharing the category in terms of revenue brought in with Final Fantasy XIV Online, Black Desert as well. That's quite impressive. In a pool of how many games? 9,000 games. Then we got Grounded in 2020. Also ranking high. An Xbox game. The strategy is working. The studios are open. They're making games. People are employed. And the box that got bodied at this moment in time is still able to stay sustainable by the company because they are making money from alternative means. At this point, you should get where I'm going. You should have kind of gotten the theme, right? But I'm not going to let you off that easy. Those of you that like exclusivity, I'm not going to make it easy for you. Then we got 2021, right? And we have Forza on PC. How many games came out on PC in 2021? 11,301 games came out on Steam, While the games that are coming out are more and more, are increasing and the competition is getting tighter, Xbox is thriving in that same ecosystem with Forza 4, Forza 5. This page actually does a weird thing. It's actually supposed to randomize itself. So when you see it do that, they don't want you to know who was the top, so they keep randomizing it. With Forza Horizon 4, Forza Horizon 5, did y'all see Sea of Thieves there somewhere just now? I'm not going to hover over them because if I do, it will run away. Forza 4, Forza 5 on the third row, Sea of Thieves on the fourth row. All in the gold category. Age of Empires in the silver category. Halo Infinite in the silver category. All this when there are more games to play on Steam, Xbox is actually having a blast right here. And the new generation has come out, but they've already established an audience at this point. Then they go ahead and acquire Bethesda. And believe you me, all Bethesda's, wins basically are accredited into Xbox's account, like Elder Scrolls Online, which continues to show up every single year in the running. So now that Xbox wants to go ahead and now take its games to PlayStation, to now improve upon its profits and cover bases in areas that it's been weak at, and pretty much out-earn PlayStation and Nintendo, why are Xbox fans, or those who like exclusivity in the Xbox camp, why are y'all worried now? Because when non-exclusivity benefited you on the PC side, many of you did not bother. But now you want to complain that the games are going to PlayStation when on PC, and I told you I had the receipts. It was Steam, Valve, PC that nursed Xbox from its wounds and kept it healthy. Now Microsoft has looked and said, wait, you mean to tell me that when we were ignoring you for big games, you made it? So they look a feel and they say, now you've shown that you are a good steward and a good custodian of the Xbox name. Here, more talents, $75 billion, and more to come. I don't have to be the one that's telling Xbox fans about the way the history of your company has been. It's understandable if you've been on the console, and maybe that's a perspective you've seen all this while. But, ladies and gentlemen, I don't got to tell you that this particular similar strategy is coming for PlayStation as well. It is. Because you see what's going on is, there are just too many distractions for gamers these days. Y'all remember Matthew Ball's little, presentation that he did, 200 pages. I call it little because, man, I only made it through like the first 50. In the first 10, he showed like all the distractions or so that are plaguing gamers today. And things like TikTok, YouTube, social media, all those things, they take away time from gaming. It's right here if you want to go ahead and see it for yourself. Y'all got to look at these charts. If the charts inform you, you divorce the emotion from it and you divorce the sentiment that you have. And some of the problems that you see is, bro, gamers are heavily distracted. Heavily occupied by their time. And so with these distractions coming in, it's not easy for these game developers and publishers to penetrate, the market and penetrate the attention clog that's already in place. Read a chart, guys. These companies do extensive data analysis on you, the gamer. Why you don't do extensive game analysis on you, yourself, the gamer, is shocking to me. Talk to me in the comment section. Peace out.